Chapter 61. Colette. You should at least try to rest and lie down while you wait for them all to come back, I insist, and he shakes his head. And quote. If I have to rest for a minute longer, I am going to implode. He grumbles, taking a step. I panic, my arm sliding up his back as he groans in pain, his head flying back as he grits his teeth. Sorry, I hiss, releasing him as he slumps to the side, his hands landing on the side table to hold himself up. Shit, I mutter. Perhaps a walking stick would be better, he says, wincing. And quote. Or maybe you should be sitting down at the very least, I say, looking around the room, finding a tall stool for him to sit on. I drag it over to him. Then as gently as I can I lead him to it. My eyes scan his back, the pink, melted skin breaking my heart with every breath he takes. Are you going to fill me in on what you and Hayes were silently figuring out? Or do I have to find out with my father? I ask him. He exhales, his hand on his side and a grimace on his face as he tries to inhale a deep breath. Percy and Leandra, no longer speaking, is not a coincidence. At least I do not believe it is. I furrow my brows, walking around in front of him. Merrick reaches out, tugging me closer to him as he wraps his tired arms around me, sticking his hands in the pockets of my jeans. I place my hands on his face, stroking it with my thumb, afraid to touch him anywhere else. Should it cause him any more pain? What makes you think that? I sigh, relishing the sparks from our bond that zip through us. His color returns to his cheeks, no longer looking so gaunt as the sparks work as a painkiller for him. There are certain ways someone can be spelled or enchanted to do whatever the spellcaster wants. Most species have a way to do it, but only to leave the host a shell of themselves when they are too far away from their caster. Meaning that, when the others fled after the fight, they took the caster with them, also meaning that the person behind it all is a witch or a fae. I chew on my lips, processing what he is saying. Then I open my mouth to ask another question, but the door flies open. I turn to look at my father as he rushes in, Brent and Elm right behind him and Hayes bringing up the end. I step to the side, my hand sliding to Merrick's hair, just to have a hand on him. Hayes says you have an idea of whom to look for. Brent asks hopefully and Merrick nods, his eyes looking glossy and dull as he grows more drained by the second. You should be in bed, I remind him quietly and his eyes skirt in my direction, a hint of annoyance filtering through the bond between us and to smile. Sick and exhausted, and he still gets annoyed with me. That has to be a good sign, right? Both Percy and Leandra, the woman from the woods, have stopped eating and talking, he says, looking around. Caspian looks at Brent and Elm over his shoulder, both looking stunned as their brows knit together. And they look at each other? Is it possible? Caspian asks them. Elm pinches the bridge of his nose and Brent drags his hand through his short, dark hair. I can't begin to imagine who it would be on my end, but it is a possibility, yes, Elm admits. Brent frowns and nods, looking at the ground. My circle of people is much smaller than Elm. I trust them all explicitly, but that does not mean it can't be possible. Brent admits. I see, Caspian says, an unimpressed frown on his lips before he sighs. Does anyone in particular come to mind? I can only think of two. Elm says, the others have been silent on council matters. But there are two who are openly against werewolves and lycans. I will need to go back to my coven. 2. Try to see if I can break what curse has a hold of them. I thought you had done everything you could to break it and failed. I ask him and he shrugs. Verbal communication is not the only kind that exists. There are ways around spells without breaking them. Go now, Caspian, says to Brent. He moves toward the door and I look at Merrick, trying to decide if I should stay with him. Go with Brent, he says through the mind link. Are you sure? I ask him, and he offers me a gentle smile. Even if I try to run, I promise you will be able to catch me with no issues, he says, making me chuckle out loud. I will come with you, Brent, I call to him as he opens the door. He pauses, pushing it open for me to exit along with him. His willingness to take me only solidifies my thoughts that he is not working with the enemy, but that doesn't mean I won't be cautious. I look once more at Merrick as he turns and speaks with my father, his eyes meeting mine as the door closes. It is smart to keep an eye on me, Brent says, shocking me. Are you saying I need to keep an eye on you? I ask, arching a brow. No. But if I were you or Mirk, I wouldn't trust me blindly either. There is a lot at play here. A lot at stake. Actually, I nod, exhaling slowly as we walk down the hall and take a right turn, heading to the stairwell. Can I ask you a question, Colette? He asks curiously. Ask away, I tell him. And he thinks for a moment, either thinking of a question or how to phrase one. The thought of a hybrid has always excited me. What type of powers would they have? Would one species be more dominant than the other with powers? Or can a hybrid really only be one species? I chuckle, caught off guard by his excitement, and I shake my head. There is a lot that I am still learning about myself. My abilities, that is. I adore the water. It makes me feel better when I am away from it. I am weak, like Caspian seems to do as well. I can survive being away from it, but I am prone to human sickness and exhaustion. He hums. He opens his mouth to ask another question but snaps it shut, choosing to wait for me to continue. I am still learning what I am capable of. I can manipulate the water, not like Caspian can, but still. I can also make it rain from the water underground. My checks are pink with embarrassment, feeling like I am bragging or talking about myself too much, but when I look at Brent, he seems completely captivated. That is astonishing. Do you plan to continue to work on your abilities? He asks me, and I shrug. We need to get back to our pack. They need us and our protection, and with Merrick being so injured, he needs the strength of his people to help speed the healing. And Caspian needs to be back in the ocean sooner rather than later. I explain with a soft sigh. I'm not sure yet that I am ready to say goodbye to the father I just found, but I am Luna, not just a girl with a dad. I would love to learn more, figure out my limits and how to use it to protect the people I love, but right now, it's one thing at a time. Wanted and desires need to be pushed aside for needs to be settled first. Have you thought about going back with Caspian? He asks, arching a brow, and I chuckle. And where would I stay? I ask him. I am half werewolf. Breathing under the water isn't really a speciality of werewolves. Ah, he says with a frown. That would have been pretty cool if you were able to breathe underwater long term like you father can. I laugh. That would be pretty sweet. I won't lie and quat. He stops at the door I visited earlier and I ready myself to see the hollow version of my gamma male. Brent forces the door open, revealing Percy, who sits on the couch in white pajamas, staring at the wall. Percy, I call to him sweetly, and he doesn't move. I move closer to him, taking a seat at his side while reaching out to take his hand. We are here to ask you some questions. Okay? He doesn't acknowledge us as Brent steps forward, pulling out a pen and placing it in Percy's hand along with a tiny pad of paper. Percy doesn't even look down at it. He just holds onto both for dear life. Percy, what is the last thing you remember? Brent asks. Percy's finger moves, writing down 4 letters, the very same ones that match the fogged-up mirror in my bathroom. Percy, what do you mean by fire? Can you explain that? I ask him, and for the first time, his eyes flicker to me, looking more like his as he looks away. He writes nothing else. He instead zones out once more, and I find myself growing frustrated. Percy, I command you to tell me something. I hiss out, angered by the lack of progress we have made recently. Draw a picture, something. He shakes his head, and then suddenly he is drawing something. Brent looks at me, impressed, before he looks down, and I lean over as well. What is that? I ask Brent. It looks like a lily. He frowns for a second before his eyes go wide. What? I ask him. He groans in frustration before he stops. Elm isn't going to take this well, he grumbles. Chapter 62. What does a lily mean? I ask him as I grab Percy some water from the nightstand, hoping I can get him to drink something. And why would that be? Something that concerns Elm? Elm calls his mate his lily. His queen. It is the name everyone calls her now. Brent says. I spin to look at him, taken aback by his response, then my nose crinkles in thought. But how would Percy know that? I ask him. He is as new to this council stuff as I am. I doubt he has met her before. Brent looks at the small paper still on Percy's lap as Percy stares out the window as if in longing. A frown tugs at Brent's lips as he lets out a heavy sigh. I don't know. But I do know that the second Elm sees this, he will be alarmed. You can't really think that Elm's own mate has something to do with. Until recently, I really didn't think hybrids could exist either, and yet here one stands in the flesh next to me. He gives me a soft smile. I move toward Percy, sitting on their bed next to him. My hand reaches out, gently grabbing his to get his attention, but it's like trying to get the attention of a hollow log. Percy, you need to drink something, I say softly, shaking his hand slightly. He won't drink it, Brent reminds me. But he responded to me, demanding he draw something. I remind him, and he shakes his head like I'm not understanding. Something. Your lunar command worked because it appealed to the gamma in him. His job is to protect you. It is what he is programmed to do. He can only fight so much. He won't waste the energy listening to the demand to drink water. I can't just let him waste away and die because some asshole possessed him and left him like this. I grit out, fighting back tears. I know he is your gamma and you have a special bond, but we need to inform the others. If it is Lily, then Elm needs to know. He is being betrayed and act accordingly. I thought you were going to try to break the curse, or whatever it is. At least try to make it better. I need things. If it were a simple witch's charm, it would be easy. But with the Fae, if it is Lily's doing, then I need things from nature. They tie everything they do to the earth. So right now, we need to focus on sharing what we know first. I look at Percy once more, reaching out and turning his face so his empty eyes are trained on me. He is just a shell of who he is. The light gone from his eyes and his skin pale and sunken already. He is wasting away and we need to save him, just this. Once it is my turn to protect him. Percy, I will be back later, I whisper to him, hoping he can hear me somewhere in his void mind. Then I turn to Brent and sigh heavily. Let's go. It hurts to walk away from Percy, leaving him looking like this when he has done nothing but put himself on the line. I want nothing more than to return the favor and protect him back, but I can't do anything until we break this freaking link between him and the asshole who has their claws in his brain. We move in silence back to the room where Merrick is. I rest my hand on the door, pausing when it opens slightly but stops. I can hear voices, that of my biological father and Merrick whispering in hushed tones, and then I hear my name. But, Merrick, Colette would be safer. One, hear my father plead. She is safe with me. Did I not prove that? Merrick growls. Lowly. I furrow my brows in confusion, looking up at Brent, who clearly can't hear what is being said as clearly as I can with my enhanced hearing. Had he known this was my father's plan too? Ask me to go with him all along. Was that why he brought it up earlier? She was safe with you? But now that you are injured, how long will it be until you can protect her again? Colette should be working to hone her skills. She has potential to be both a skilled siren and werewolf if we let her embrace both sides. Let her stay with me, just until you are back up to full fighting strength. I will not let her out of my sight. Merrick says, his voice laced with pain. She is my mate. Mine to protect and rule with. Without her, I am nothing. My mouth is dry as I try to swallow. They think they can make decisions without my consent? Say yes or no to things that concern me without even first consulting me? Would Merrick even tell me if he didn't know I overheard him? I remove my hand, taking a step back, my fingers quivering before I drop them to my side. Brent stares at me quizzically, but he says nothing as I push back my frustrations and annoyance before I shove the door open and enter the room, pretending like I had heard not a word they were discussing. We spoke to Percy, I say, looking between them, then I scan the room, trying to find Elm. Where is Elm? He needed to step out for a moment. Merrick says, his face flushed as he sits with his hands on his knees, leaning forward, looking pale. You should be laying down, I say, making sure to lay my disappointment on thick. He looks at me like I might have gone crazy and I roll my eyes. You are injured, Merrick. You need to heal, and pushing yourself will only make it take longer. Colette, what did Percy have to say? Merrick asks, conveniently changing the subject. Nothing, but he drew a picture of a flower, I say, motioning to Brent, who produces the paper and hands it to Merrick. His brows knit together in thought. Is this a lily? He asks, looking up, and Brent nods. Yes. Damn it. Caspian curses under his breath. Merrick looks at him, concern spreading over his face. You don't think Elm knows, do you? He asks Caspian, who shrugs. Who the hell knows these days? One moment I trust everyone and the next I am getting stabbed in the back. He throws his hands up. We don't think he figured it out and ran, do we? Brent asks cautiously. My brows shoot to my hairline in alarm and I look around at the three men who look uneasy about the question posed. No. I finally respond. No. He wouldn't have stayed through a fight like that too. Ditch us now. Elm, for some reason, felt genuine every time we spoke, like there was an understanding of trust between us. He is a royal who believes in honesty and equality. Who is ditching who? He asks, coming into the room. No one. I smile, damn happy that he proved my instincts right. At least this time anyway. But we do have to talk with you. He nods, looking around the room, a single eyebrow arching as he releases a deep breath. Then he walks over and takes a seat on the edge of Merrick's bed near Merrick, where he sits on the stool trying to stay upright. No need to be dramatic and delay it, he announces, and I look at Brent, waiting for him to speak. After a moment he doesn't, and I sigh, taking the drawing from my father's hands and placing it nearly in his. He frowns at it before looking it over. We watch as his eyes go from confused to curious, and then his cheeks redden and he stands abruptly. Elm doesn't utter a word. Instead he seems to stew in his anger and frustration. Then he clears his throat. Lily, he says softly, like a disappointed whisper. What the hell have you done, my love? Do you really think it was her? I ask, not entirely convinced yet. There are many variables to think about, like why she would do it, how Percy would even know who she is, to point the finger of blame on her. Do you have reason to think it is not? He asks, skeptically. That came from someone I know never met your queen. Percy drawing a lily could mean a few things, like the flower was present. Or maybe he is trying to send us to a meadow for answers, I offer, and he shakes his head, not believing me. Colette, he wrote fire on the mirror as a warning that it was the dragons. He is warning us with elements. Lilies have no meaning in our worlds, and if Percy had met her, like he would need to in order to be possessed, perhaps she shared her name. And quote, Lily wears a brooch, one that I had made for her, to remind her she is my little flower when I am away. She has never taken it off. If he had seen that, it would explain the drawing and how it looks so similar. And quote, Elm says, it sounds like you want it to be her, I say, running my hands through my hair. I am a practical being, Letty, one who rules with logic and not emotions. The fact is, there is a likely probability it is my Lily, which means I need to find her. If you will excuse me again, I need to make contact with the rest of my kind to locate my queen. Elm rushes out the door, leaving it wide open behind him. I will take that as my cue to leave as well, Brent says. I will try to break the curse or work around it now that I know what to do. He gives a slight bow before he rushes out the door as, well, do you really think it was a nature fae? Merrick asks, looking at my father, who is rubbing his temples. Who knows anymore? He grumbles. He gives me a gentle smile before looking back at Merrick and giving him a stern look. I beg you to reconsider what we talked about. I won't. Merrick clips out and Caspian sighs heavily before shaking his head. He brushes past me, dropping a kiss to the top of my head and a soft smile before leaving the room. So, what did you guys talk about? I ask Merrick, raising a brow, waiting for him to answer. Chapter 63. Merrick looks at me with a small frown, his face pale and sweat beading on his brow. It's obvious he is in pain and exhausted. I should help him back into bed, force him to rest, but I need to know. I need to know he wasn't going to make a decision for me and never tell me. Merrick and I have come too far, suffered too many lies and miscommunications to falter now. But I need him to come out and say it. For me not to be disappointed in him and what we have. He has to be the one to bring it up first and tell me how he feels without demanding I do one thing or another. He sighs, then he stands, taking a fumbling step toward me as his eyes drift closed and open slowly. Shit, I mutter, rushing to him, holding him up as he hunches over. We need to talk, he whispers, but his voice is weak as I move him to the side of the bed. Save your strength. Right now, I need you to try to scooch onto the bed for me. I tell him as he sits, and then with intense care and lack of speed, He drags himself to the middle of the bed, his eyes closing. I guess that talk will have to wait until he wakes up, no matter how much I feel I need the answers now. He sighs as I gently pull the soft sheet up and over his body, then I move to the door. If Merrick can't tell me, then I will talk to Capsian and hear his side of things. First, learn why he chose not to come directly to me first before approaching my mate. Stay. I hear the words muffled by the pillow, my hand pausing on the doorknob. I need you. His words are all I need right now, stopping me in my tracks, reminding me that he has done nothing wrong yet. Merrick is sick, severely injured, and his body drained from its constant healing. An argument between him and my father over me is the least of my problems, no matter how upset it makes me. Right now I need to be a good mate and Luna. I turn back around, looking at him as his barely open eyes lock on me, his body working hard to breathe easy. My heart aches. My eyes getting watery as I move wordlessly to the bed. I kick off my shoes and take off my t-shirt, leaving me in only my bra as I crawl in next to him. My warm skin touches his clammy body and he shivers, seeking more skin to skin from me. The sparks dance through the bind and I can feel his muscles relax, the telltale sign that the bond is easing his pain as it should. I lay next to him, my body pressed up against his side as I reach out and stroke his hair from his face. Is this better? I ask him, and he hums happily in response. His breathing grows more regular, his body working less strenuous as he seems to fall back into sleep. I sigh, just looking at his all too handsome features. My thumb strokes his high cheekbones, making me smile softly as I run over his stumbled face. I tilt my head, next assessing his sharp nose and the tiny freckles that from afar aren't noticeable. I wish I could see his piercing green eyes at this moment, witness the love he has for me. But instead of waking him, I let him sleep, continuing my assault of touch on his face. My fingers trace his lips before I lean closer and press mine to his. He smirks and hums, his eyes remaining closed. I missed you, he whispers, and I chuckle. How can you miss me? I have been by your side all along, I remind him, and he shakes his head softly. Not when I close my eyes. I miss you when I close my eyes, he says, sounding a little drunk. Then dream of me, you crazy alpha. I grin, then bite my lip. It shouldn't make me blush, but it does. The way he speaks, even when he is exhausted and ill. Too tired to think, he murmurs, his voice breaking off. As I lean closer to his ear. Then I will tell you what to dream about, I whisper to him. Yes, please, and quat. So many options spin through my mind. What would constitute a good dream for him? The devious part of me, the one that wants him to heal so I can enjoy my nights with him in a different way, begs me to say things I shouldn't. But then, again, perhaps I should give him something to look forward to. I want you to dream about when you are better. When all of this political crap is taken care of and it's just you and me. Back in our pack, in our room, in our bed. I say, my cheeks are heating as I speak to him. I refuse to leave the room for an entire week, and I refuse to let you leave my side. Maybe something less spicy. He groans, shifting around on the bed slightly, and my eyes pop wide. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I giggle, realizing he must be uncomfortable laying on his stomach with whatever my imagination is doing to his body. Me too, he sighs. Why don't you tell me what you want to dream about? It may help you actually fall asleep more efficiently. I offer. You and me. Our future. Our family, he says, his eyes opening for a moment, and meeting mine. My heart stutters when our gazes meet, my desire to be closer to him nearly suffocating as I wiggle further into his side. He chuckles and then his eyes fall closed again. Let's see. Our future. I whisper in thought. In our future, I see 3 kids. Maybe 2 boys and 1 girl. She will have stunning eyes and my hair. Our boys will look just like you, but they will be wild because they won't have to worry about wars and death. They will get to be kids, all of them. As I speak, I realize I can see this future all too well. All the way down to the cute black tennis shoes our future little boys are wearing. Merrick makes me want it all. The life I never knew I wanted or could have. All I want is him, me and peace. And in order to have that, we need honesty. I have his loyalty and he has mine. But where we lack is truth and openness. Our relationship will be perfect. I murmur, speaking into existence the way I want it to be between us. We trust each other, and we share our expectations. There is nothing we don't share as we rule together. I move my hand down his neck, his head stretching to the side, seeking my touch. I drag it down his arm, stroking it up down until I finally hear his lightly snoring. A smile dances across my lips, and I watch him as he sleeps in peace. Luna. Caspian asked to speak with you, Penny says. Through the mind link. Tell him I will be there soon. Please. I shoot through the link. I can feel her acknowledge my request and I don't move right away. Instead I lay for a few minutes longer, watching Merrick, not wanting to disturb him by removing myself from his side. Then I lean forward, pressing a chaste kiss to his cheek. I will be right back. I've been summoned. I whisper. I extract myself from the bed carefully, watching him the entire time to see if the pain comes back and is too unbearable for him. When I make it to the door and notice he hasn't moved, I exit and rush to my father's office. I pass by the open hole in the ceiling and wall where the conference room used to be, careful not to hiss the new construction that is already in place to secure the building to prevent further damage. As I make it to his door, he exits, looking surprised for a brief moment before giving me a gentle smile. Caspian motions toward the doors leading outside and I walk along beside him in silence until we exit the building and the doors close behind us. I can see how tense he is, the nervousness in his stature. Everything all right? I ask him, and he chuckles dryly. That is a loaded question, dear daughter. He shakes his head. My leadership has led to the downfall of the very thing protecting everyone. I frown. Your leadership is the only one that wants unity. For you, I wanted unity if it meant you were safe. He sighs. I was selfish, and now many lives are on the line. I blink, my chest tight. As his words sink in, he regrets choosing to protect me. I see. I murmur. He pauses and looks at me, his eyes growing wide. I don't regret my choice, Colette. There is no shame in admitting I would choose you above all else. I would do it all over again if I had the chance. What I need is to be realistic with myself right now. Every innocent life lost is in my hands. I sigh, looking up at the sky, taking in the cool breeze that dances over my face. You led the council, I say, looking back at him. You were not the one who made the decision for them. Caspian, you call yourself selfish. I call the others weak-minded. Their fear caused them to make an enemy of us, not the other way around. Fear and jealousy are divisive points, not a father's love or the desire to make everyone equal in the council. He huffs out a puff of air and looks At me, pride in his eyes. You are already such a wise Luna. He smiles. Your mother would be so proud. I look down, watching each step as I wring my hands. Will you tell me more about her? I ask. I want to remember her, to imagine her smile and the way she loved me. I actually wanted to discuss something with you first, he says, clearing his throat. How would you feel about coming back with me to my world? I'm not surprised by his question, given the conversation that he had with Merrick. After everything settles down. No, I mean when we all leave in a few days' time. He explains, his hand going behind his head to scratch in itch. I already brought it up to Merrick. He hates the idea, I tell him, without even have to address it with Merrick first. Naturally, but you would grow more powerful, and I could teach you. You mean you could keep me safe, hidden away there because, no one else can get to you there? That too, he agrees. There is so much you could learn, so much strength for you to unlock so you can use it to protect your pack, your mate. And where would I stay? I ask him, arching a brow. I can't remain underwater forever. We don't know that, he shrugs. Hello? I am half wolf. Remember? I ask him. I may be half siren, but I don't have a tail or scales for extreme swimming abilities. When I get wet, hell, I don't look like you do when you are in the water. I look human. He seems to grow sad and shakes his head. I'd have a cabin for you to stay in at night and during the day you could be in the water, learning, growing. But I would have to leave my injured mate. I remind him. Something I would never feel right doing. I refuse to hide. He shakes his head, convinced that I am not understanding him. Colette, you are not hiding, he clarifies. You are learning, training. You will be getting stronger, strong enough to protect those you love and care about from attacks from the dragons. And what happens if an attack happens when I am not there? I ask him with a raised brow. He says nothing, just stares at me before he shakes his head, looking disappointed. We need to hope that doesn't happen. He whispers, you need this, Colette. Your pack and even Merrick need it. I just need you to think. Don't answer me right now. Discuss it with Merrick, think about it. This is something I feel like would be beneficial to the whole of our cause. You need to do what is best for your pack. Chapter 64. Not just your relationship. I should get back to Merrick, I mutter. Confliction stirring in my head and chest. I know Caspian is right. My powers, whatever they may be, could very much come in handy. And, as someone who can't offer much in the way of my werewolf abilities, this would be a huge advantage for us. What I did in the woods with the fake giants was something I had no idea I could do. Heck, I'm not sure I could even do it if I tried. But if the ocean makes me stronger than the freshwater lake in my pack, should I not try to see what it can do again for me? Promise me. You will consider it? He asks. The sincerity in his voice is enough to make me see he wants this. Not to just keep me safe where he lives, but he wants me to learn, to grow. I will think about it. I tell him with a tight smile as I back away and turn, heading toward the mansion that once was so grand. As I enter, I see Hayes storming out of a room, his fist flying into the adjacent wall as he screams in anger. I stop, watching as he drags his hands through his hair and then leans forward, resting his forehead above where he punched a hole. Hayes, I call out to him, walking in his direction as he straightens himself up and turns, shock written on his face. He tries to hide the hole in the wall, leaning against it with his back and clearing his throat. Luna, he says, bowing his head in respect, which only makes me raise a brow. Hayes has been respectful to me, but he is my brother through my mate, not just a beta or a pack member. It is so obvious that he is hurting, and it's not just Merrick being injured. Leandra still not speaking? I ask him, and he looks down. How am I supposed to reject her if she can't respond? He growls, though his anger is not directed toward me. Why would you reject her? I ask him, and he looks at me like I've lost all ability to speak coherently. She is a traitor. I can't take her as my mate now. I frown at the man I know to be wise beyond his years. One whose opinion is highly valued not only by Merrick but everyone who knows him. But maybe that is why he is so great at advice. Because he can see things from the outside perspective, and with this situation, he is in the thick of it, making terrible mistakes without asking anyone for their external thoughts or opinions. When it comes to his own life, he is lost. Being a traitor is a conscious choice. I say softly, I doubt she asked to be bewitched and used against her own kind. Seems to me she was used, not asked. Hayes presses his head back into the wall, lifting it and slamming it back. He does it again, hammering it against it twice, now 3 times. Before I step closer and place my hand where the back of his head is repeatedly hitting, he stops and tilts his head to look at me, sadness in his eyes. What the hell am I supposed to do? I prize loyalty above everything, Colette, he whispers, sounding broken. Seeing her out there fighting us, I can't erase it. The colors of her eyes didn't matter. She was going to kill my alpha, her alpha. How do I just forget that? I don't know. I tell him honestly, my shoulders popping up in a shrug. But I think it's worth trying, and quat. It's like everything went to hell when those damn zombie wolves arrived, and now we are stuck there, burning for the sins of our ancestors and tearing everyone else down with us. He scoffs. That's an interesting way of putting it, I admit. Not quite how I see it, though. Yeah, well, how the hell would you describe it? He scoffs, his frustration seeping through his words. We've been attacked so many damn times I can't count anymore. We make no headway. These assholes just take win after win and we just lose everything. It's just life. I shrug. For so damn long, I was living in hell. Stagnant. Nothing to do or live for. Losing everything, including who I was every day. I lived longer. Sometimes one person's hell is another person's salvation. All of this, these fights, these losses, that's proof we are still fighting. Proof these assholes can't beat us. So what you are saying is if we fight long enough, eventually we will win one. He scoffs, and I chuckle. I don't know, I admit. But giving up on the things that can make what you call hell feel a little less awful won't guarantee you any wins, either. He snaps his mouth shut, looking at the door across from us. Then he sighs. Brent is with Percy, trying to break the hold they have on him. Then he will be here, working on Leandra next. I can only imagine how hard it will be for her to understand what happened, and what is happening. I have to reject her once she is free, he whispers. I just don't know that I can do it. She is my mate, who I have waited for. But what if she is my Lauren? I frown, hating how stubborn he is, but then again, he is so like his brother in that regard. Leandra will need time to come to terms with everything first, Hayes. I say. So, I am going to ask you to not reject her for a month. Let her heal, come to terms with how used she was. Who knows? Maybe you both will help each other. He opens his mouth to say something, but I shake my head and step away from him. And she is not your Lauren. She was a one-of-a-kind, backstabbing bitch. She chose to betray Merrick and you. Leandra had no control over her actions, I suppose, he murmurs, pushing off the wall. Don't make me use my mate against you, Hayes. I give him a stern look and he frowns. There is no need to be in hell when you have the option of heaven. Stop being such a stickler for your made-up rules and live a little. If Merrick and I can make this work, you can at least give her a chance. As I turn to walk away, an ear-piercing scream tears through the hall, coming from behind the closed door where Leandra is. I rush forward to throw it open, but Hayes beats me to the handle. The door flies open, and Leandra is on the ground writhing in pain as gasping cry tumbling from her lips. Hayes drops to his knees, pulling her head into his lap, cupping her face as she shakes and cries out again. His eyes are filled with agony as he looks at me, trying to figure out what to do. I rush over to her, touching her skin, and notice how cold she is and how frail she feels. She is malnourished and something, or someone, is causing her immense pain. Shh, it's okay. I've got you. Hayes whispers to her. Leandra's shaking hands reach out and grip into his forearms, holding onto Hayes tightly as her eyes roll to the back of her head. Shit, shit, shit. Hayes panics as he shakes her gently. I need to go find Brent or Elm, I say, jumping up and sprinting out of the room. I don't make it 3 steps before Brent breaks into the room, his face pale and blood dripping from his nose. His state catches me off guard as I reach out and help him stand upright. What the hell is going on? I ask him, and he sucks in a shuddering breath. They are fighting back, he whispers. Who is fighting back? I ask, and Hayes looks at me. The who has them in the curse, he growls. Does that mean they are close? Brent nods, and Hayes jumps up immediately, rushing out the door. Damn it, I groan, helping Brent to the nearest chair. Before I tear from the room, sprinting after Hayes, I scream after him, only for him to ignore my every attempt, so I kick my speed up. I may not know how to fight, but running is slowly becoming my thing. Well, hiking was, but stamina is stamina, so I race toward him. Hayes, stop! I cry out in my lunar voice, hoping the command is enough to make him stop. But it's not. That, or he intentionally tuned me out, so he didn't have to hear my commands. I should stop, and I should reach out to Merrick. He is the only person I know who can get through to Hayes, but he is injured, and the second I say something, he will come running. I can't risk that, so I instead make the incredibly stupid executive decision to stick with Hayes and ensure he is safe. 2 is better than 1 when it comes to fighting, and though I don't offer much by way of packing a punch, I can turn water on like a spout and blind a bitch if I need to. I hope I can anyway. I follow his scent until I see him stopped and looking around in the woods, trying to figure out which way to go. He spins in a circle, growling in frustration, before cursing the moon goddess for the shit going wrong in the moment. Hayes, I say, gently, you shouldn't have come out here. He hisses, stalking toward me. Are you trying to get yourself killed? Are you? I spit at him. Rushing out into the woods with no idea where you are going and who you are looking for. The same words. I remind you that you were attacked in my spelled giant-like things. I'm trying to save her. They are hurting her on purpose. He grits out. They are trying to lure us out, and they are, yet again, winning. You are letting them win, Hayes, I say, my eyes boring a hole into his. You are the one that told me to give her time, Luna. This is me. Trying to buy her that damn time. Please, I am begging you. Help me find this bastard and end them. His eyes are wild and his voice desperate, and I realize there is no way I can deny his heartfelt plea. Do you have any idea where they might be? I ask him with a heavy exhale and his eyes water. Not yet, he mutters. Then let's start looking. I agree. But no. Telling Merrick until we are done. Deal? I ask, and he nods in agreement. Neither of us wants Merrick out here dealing with things in his state. Chapter 65. Hayes is frantic, not thinking right as he rushes through the woods, his head swinging from side to side. We know the who is controlling them is close. They have to be for Leandra to wake up from her void state. The question is, where is this person now? How close do they have to be? It feels like an hour has gone by and Hayes is sweating, his hair a mess as he drags his hands through it for the 100th time. No amount of telling him we will find them or to focus on looking will calm him. The poor man is distraught and crumbling with every passing second. Hayes, I say, trying to get his attention as I step in front of him with my hands out. He scowls, saying nothing as he tries to step around me. I slide to the side. He is moving too, and he growls. Enough, he roars. Go back to the mansion if you want to give up. I didn't ask you to come with me. I wasn't going to suggest we stop looking. I sigh. I was going to suggest we split up. Cover more ground. He thinks about it for a second, and then he pinches the bridge of his nose, shaking his head. No, not a chance in hell, Luna. I may be falling apart here, but I am not crazy enough to let you leave my side. You are my Luna and Merrick would literally kick my ass. I sigh, not really surprised or upset by his answer, but I needed him to relax, come back to his senses instead of storming through the woods like a frantic animal looking for a way out of a forest fire. We have been looking for an hour. I tell him and he groans, throwing his hands up. I know. Brent has probably already broken the curse, and Leandra is lonely and terrified. We need to go back, I say with a sympathetic smile. Making sure she is okay is more important. Or you both could make another lap. A feminine voice says, sounding amused. I don't mind waiting if you want to keep looking for someone you won't find. I spin slowly, my eyes landing on a beautiful woman with deep brown hair and a crown made of pearls and silver. Her arms are crossed over her midnight velvet dress, a smirk on her pink lacquered lips. Her eyes are a stunning shade of orange, accented by dark mascara and eyeliner. Oh, I think we have found who we are looking for, Hayes growls, moving toward her. I stop him by grabbing his arm. I'm not sure how many strange women there are wandering around the woods out here, but before we go on the attack and kill someone, I want to make sure it's the right someone. No more zombie wolves, no more controlling the people we care about and want to protect. If this is Lily, if this is the bitch toying with people's minds, I will let Hayes end her sorry existence. Lily, I whisper and she quirks an eyebrow, fear flashing in her eyes. I do not want to harm you, she says and I scoff, watching as Hayes's fists clench, his knuckles growing white. I am doubtful of that, considering you have already hurt so many people. I tell her, and she takes a step closer to me. Hayes growls, stepping between us as he glares at her, barely restraining himself and his lycan. All I want is to speak with you, she insists. It is urgent. You want to talk to me? Fine. But my time comes at a price, I say, shrugging and crossing my arms over my chest, taking a similar stance to hers. What? Hayes whips his head to look at me like I am insane. Name your price then, she says, grinning, looking both pleased and relieved at my answer. Release the curse on my kind, I say, matching her grin with a snarky smile. She laughs, the sound much like a song as it echoes back off the trees. Tam. Afraid I can't do that. She shakes her head. Then we have nothing to discuss, I tell her, and I can let Hayes kill you to release the others. Hayes steps forward, his lycan breaking free before she juts her chin to a tree. A branch cracks, crashing down on Hayes. He tries to dodge it, but he isn't quick enough as it lands on his legs. He groans in pain and I rush to him, my wolf prickling in my mind, wanting to be let out. I cannot do that, but I can help you, she explains. I don't understand how you can help me with anything. The only thing I want is my kind free from your mind tricks. I will help your beater if you speak with me, she says, pointing to Hayes. I will remove the branch and heal him. I look at Hayes, who struggles to move the thick branch. Even in his lycan form, he is stuck. What could you possibly have to talk with me about? I ask her, trying not to look nervous over the amount of blood pooling around Hayes. Rumor has it you are a hybrid, she says. You know I am. I scowl at her. You and Giselle, and whoever the hell else is on your side. What kind of hybrid? She asks and I furrow my brows, once again confused by her questions. Why the hell is she asking these questions? Is she trying to verify what she already knows or tricking me into some strange admission to use against me? Again, you already know this, I tell her, and her eyes light up. So why are you asking such stupid questions? So it's true, she chuckles, placing her hands on her head. Holy shit. Caspian actually had an offspring. I thought Elm was making shit up. Not just an offspring, but a Luna. I scowl at her. She nods like she is processing the information. Yes, that is right. He had mentioned you are mated to the Lycan King. How is he, by the way? When I received word of his injuries, I knew I had to come and help offer my services. There is no way this woman is Lily. Not with these questions. The only thing remaining is who the hell is she? Because if she isn't Lily, then why the hell is she here right now? You aren't Lily, are you? I ask her, and she shakes her head. No, I am not. She smiles. I am a fae, but I am not Lily. I blink at her, my eyes wide as she chuckles and waves her hand like it's no big deal. Then help my beater. Now. I point to Hayes and she extends her hand, the tree branch lifting and the blood around him tickling backwards, up his leg and back into his wound. I blink as I watch it in slow motion, like a movie in reverse. Hayes equally stunned into silence. Now that we have that settled, why don't you take me back to the mansion with you? Not until you tell me who the hell you are. I glare at her. You stopped us, injured my beater, asked me off-the-wall questions and all I know about you is that you are not Lily and you are a fae. I don't know you well enough to trust you. I tell her. Hayes stands, looking at his lower half like he had just seen a ghost, then his eyes meet mine. She is the princess, he whispers, looking at the fae once more, who smiles. That I am. My name is Hyacinth. Elm is my brother, she says, giving me a nod. I am here to help with your bewitched friends and even heal your alpha. He actually sent for you. A voice from my dreams tuts. My skin goosebumps, my head spinning as I try to keep myself from breaking down. The fear claws at my chest, making its way up my throat in a painful bubble as I turn and look at a woman with white hair. Her skin is pale, her eyes an icy blue as she smirks at me, enjoying the effect she has over me. She stays near a tree, keeping her distance, and I realize it's more of a projection of her. She is not physically here, yet it feels like she is breathing down my neck. Ah, you came too, Hyacinth says, frowning. Did Elm call you, or did you feel guilty for starting all of this shit and come to apologize? Oh, no. I am here just to play a little. I'm bored. All my playthings are locked up and I just can't quite reach them. And with you coming to set them free, I figured I could at least have a chokehold on this one. Lily says, are you that much of a coward you can't come in your physical form? I ask, trying to sound strong. She cackles, her figure floating over to Hayes as she makes like she is touching his cheek. He swipes at her and his hand right through her form as she giggles. Oh stop, that tickles, and my Elm is a rather possessive faking. He won't like it if I tell him you touched me. She teases. You are sorely mistaken if you think he has any feelings for you now, Hyacinth says, sounding bored. No, she shrugs. Then why did he sneak me back into his room for a little fun? How else do you think I got my hands on that little sweet red-headed gamma? Elm supports me, Hyacinth. My stomach churns and I look at Hayes, the two of us caught between a fight we don't know how to win as these two Fae women face off in a verbal war. Then Lily swoops in front of me, stopping only to grin. Tell my Elm I am ready for him now, that he no longer has to fake being on your side, and then she vanishes. Chapter 66. Merrick sits on the edge of the bed, his muscles quivering as he stares at Hyacinth, who looks out of place in her velvet dress and crown. I take his hand in mine, his fingers twitching as he frowns up at me. You went into the woods? Without me? He asks, his lips pinched together as he processes what I've told him so far. Well, you aren't exactly mobile, Merrick. Hayes was in a panic. And I've never seen him like that. It scared me, so I had to go with him. I say, defensively. Hayes is a big boy. He can take care of himself, he says flatly, his eyes narrowed. You should have woken me up or taken Penny as well, or something. There wasn't any time for any of that. I tell him truthfully. Hayes took off. He wasn't in his right mind. Plus, I'm a big girl and I don't need to always be coddled or protected. First of all, Hayes is always in his right mind. He doesn't do irrational or erratic behavior. He argues back. And big girl or not, you are a Luna, not a warrior. Colette. Exactly, I am a Luna, and one with water skills. I am not completely useless anymore, Merrick. I am learning and getting stronger. That doesn't matter. It was stupid and you should have. Oh, come on. I throw my hands up in anger. His mate was in pain, and he was helpless. If you had seen him, Merrick, he was so broken. How would you have reacted if it had been you next to him? I ask him. He looks away, his jaw muscles tensing before he sighs heavily. Fine. So you went into the woods and found a random woman and decided to bring her back with you? He asks, peeking past me at Hyacinth, who wanders around the room like she is assessing the decorations. Not just a random woman, she murmurs without sparing him a glance. A Fae princess. He rolls his eyes and scoffs. Okay. But that's not even what is important right now, I groan, pinching the bridge of my nose with my free hand. This is not going well at all clearly. His pain is making him unreasonable. Well, more unreasonable than usual. For fuck's sake, what the hell could be more important than you running off after fucking danger with our unhinged beta when people are out there trying to fucking kill you? He asks in a growly voice, his eyes dark with anger as he stares at me. That beta is your brother. I remind him with a scowl, choosing to ignore the logic he spews about the imminent danger surrounding my very existence. And what did my brother think he would find out there to help his mate? He asks, pushing up off the bed, grimacing as he straightens. That is what I am trying to tell you, but you won't let me talk long enough to finish the damn story. I hiss at him. Merrick snaps his mouth shut and looks away, his anger filtering in through the mate bond. But I know he can feel my frustration too. I refuse to be made to feel guilty for doing what had to be done, for doing exactly what he would have done. Was it potentially dangerous? Yes, I get that. And I understand his fury, but it doesn't make going out there wrong. I will remain silent while you explain, then. He clips out, tilting his head. Should I just wait outside until this little lover's spat is over? Hyacinth asks and I glare at her. Sit down, please, I say through tight lips. She smirks and throws her hands up in defeat. Then I look back at Merrick, focusing on explaining all of this as fast and detailed as possible so we can get him healed. Already, Hayes was freaking out because for Leandra to be in that much pain, Lily had to be nearby. I tell him and his shoulders tense, making him wince. She came in like, I don't know, a weird ghost-like form, or something like that, but she was able to have an effect on Leandra. What? He asks, his eyes going wide as he looks at me and then at Hyacinth behind me. Is that a fun Fae trick? To be somewhere you aren't physical at? Not one that I was ever aware of, no. She frowns. But then again, as Fae, we all have our special tricks we don't always share with others. Then what happened? Merrick asks. Well, we were ready to fight, Hyacinth. I thought she was Lily, but once she explained who she was and why she was here, we came back after weird ghost Lily disappeared. He scoffs, then it turns into an amused chuckle before growing into a full-fledged laugh. I stare at him, both confused and awed by the sound, until he shakes his head and calms down. And you just took her word for it and brought her back with you? He asks, arching a brow as he hobbles around me, moving toward her. When you put it that way, it makes it sound like I was being stupid. I frown. But I followed my gut instinct, and well, she promised to heal you. Merrick spins, losing his footing slightly as I reach out and steady him, my hands on his bare chest as I meet his eyes with mine. He has shut me out of the mind link, not letting me in right now, and it makes my wolf whine in desperation for that connection. Merrick is clearly not happy with me and my choices, but I fail to see how he would have done anything differently. Holy toads on a flaming log. Hyacinth gasps, her hand over her mouth and her eyes trained on Merrick's back. How the hell are you standing with an injury like that? Merrick looks annoyed as he closes his eyes and inhales deeply. Then I help him turn to look at her with his expressionless face. You may be a Fae princess, but I am a fucking king. I have had many injuries in my life. This one, though painful, will not be the end of me, so why should I lie and wallow? It's not wallowing, it's pain, she says, looking at him curiously. But your kind has a strange ability to push pain away at times. Yes, yes, and the mate bond acts as a sort of pain blocker when we touch. I tell her and she makes an impressed face. How very interesting. She makes a movement with her hand, indicating that Merrick should spin for her, but instead of responding he scowls and remains statuesque. Merrick, she is just here to help, I whisper, but he doesn't budge. Until Elm shows up to verify she is who she is claiming to be. She won't look at shit, he growls, his eyes trained on her like he thinks she may launch herself at us at any moment. Good, he should already be on his way down here. After all, he is expecting me, she says in an equally sassy tone. She is here to heal you, not win your trust. I growl, annoyed. What I want is for Merrick to stop getting in his own damn way and let her heal him. The sooner he is healed, the sooner I can make my decision about if I want to visit the siren world I knew nothing about. The two go hand in hand, Colette. To need to be healed is admitting I am weak. And can you just trust any woman in the woods claiming to be a princess? I lick my teeth, annoyed with Merrick. The situation, all of it. Hyacinth saunters over to a chair and slides into it silently, her eyes still wandering around the room before settling on me with a genuine smile. There is a knock on the door and I look between Merrick, who scowls at Hyacinth, and the ethereal fey woman with a stunning smile on her lips. Then I move to the door, relieved when I see a gaunt-looking Elm. Elm, I say, and he meets my gaze, his eyes full of sadness and agony. Is my sister here with you? Hayes mentioned she would come to see Merrick. I am here, brother, she says, jumping up as he pushes past me. Hyacinth wraps her arms around him, whispering something in the Fey language before breaking away and giving him a sympathetic look. Heal Merrick first and then we can discuss. He pauses and clears his throat. Discuss what has transpired and what we need to do next. Satisfied, she asks, smirking at Merrick as she moves toward him. He grunts and turns so she can see his back. Merrick leans down on the side table, pressing his palms onto it as she touches his back, making him nearly jump to the ceiling. Fuck, he growls loudly. These burns, she muses. They are from a dragon. Elm said. Yeah, Giselle shot a ball of fire at Colette and he took the hit, Elm says. Walking over. My face turns pink, my heart racing at the terrible memory. But this is not a dragon's flame. This is magical, Elm. She whispers, her words frantic as she slides a worried glance in my direction. What the hell does that mean? I ask. That's not possible. Dragons, even in human form, shoot the same flame, synth. Elm argues with her. This is a purely magically wound. She argues back. I don't know what to tell you, other than this is not a dragon's flame. What does that mean? I yell, finally getting their attention. It means I can't heal him. Not completely, she whispers, and I look at Elm, who drags his hands through his hair, cursing. And that Giselle is not what she claims to be. She is not a dragon, Elm says as the thought comes to him. Then what the hell is she? Merrick asks. I don't know, Elm says with a forlorn look on his face. But she isn't what she claimed to be. Chapter and somehow 67. We all missed Merrick. Elm's words ring in my ears. The severity of what is unraveling before us is astounding. How the hell we all missed it, how I dismissed the signs and blamed someone else for the red-eyed wolves. It was so easy for them to use my blatant hatred for Johannes and the vampires against me. Giselle, the person who has been on the council for many years longer than I have, isn't the species she said she was. Then what the is she? Species can sense their own kind, so we would all have known if she was one of us. How could she get away with this for so long? How could not a single person know? This is a joke. It has to be, I say, looking between Elm and the woman he claims is his sister, hoping they tell me it is. Elm averts his eyes and clears his throat. Are you serious right now? How the hell does something like this even happen? Someone can just pretend to be a species? You didn't notice anything off about her or her scent? He asks me like I am the one who is at fault. I scoff, shaking my head. I have only ever met her as a dragon representative. It is how she was introduced to me. Lycans and wolves use our scent to determine species, and if she has been the only so-called dragon I have met, then how am I supposed to know it is wrong? I snap at him. Elm places his hands on his head, breathing deeply. None of this matters right now, Colette says softly, touching my arm as she pulls me toward her. It most certainly matters. I scoff, looking down at her. She shakes her head. What could be more important? What matters right now, at this moment, is getting you better, she says, a command in her eyes that only adds to the burning irritation in my gut. My injuries are nothing in the face of everything happening. At this point, we should head back to our pack and heal there, where we are safer. I tell her. Colette ignores me as she turns away and moves toward Elm's sister. You said you can't heal his injury. Are you completely sure? She asks, sounding desperate. There is absolutely nothing you can do. Hyacinth frowns and looks at me. Would you mind letting me look once more? She asks, and I chuckle dryly. This is such a crock of shit. These empty promises of getting fixed when my lycan is already working overtime to do just that. This is useless, I tell everyone, looking around the room at all three of them. You have already established there is nothing to do with magical injuries like this. What is the point of trying when you will only fail? I don't want to try. I just want to be sure there is nothing I can offer to help. She frowns. I grit my teeth, looking at Colette, who begs with her big puppy eyes, and I groan in frustration. What I want is to rest, with my mate actually staying by my side. What I need is for people to stop acting like I am on my deathbed and not getting better every little by little. Fine, I say through a clenched jaw, once again turning my back so she can see it. Colette slides onto the side table, sitting on it with my hands gripping the sides to her waist. She places her hands on my shoulders, those addictive and familiar sparks drawing out a sigh of content as my pain lessens significantly. This may hurt as I poke and prod around your injury, Hyacinth says, her footsteps padding across the floor toward me. Her fingers are warm, exploring the singed skin on the outside of the wound. She hums in question once or twice, a sharp pain radiating through my spine as she presses on the most tender area at the upper part near my shoulder. Again, she hums in thought and I sigh heavily, ready to be done. Colette's hands slide up my neck, finding either side of my jaw as she cups my face and makes me look at her. Her all-seeing brown eyes meet mine and she frowns before pressing her forehead to mine. Are you okay? She whispers. Fine, I mutter, not wanting to unload on her how I really am. Because right now I am far from fine. I am livid, and in pain and murderous and, well, I'm very mad about everything. My mate's father wants to steal her away. There is an unknown species who took out a chunk off my back and is leading a war against half of the council. Ex-council, actually. And there are random people coming and going in a partially demolished mansion. We are not safe here. We are exposed. Our location is known to our enemies. Even with the help of our allies, who I am not even sure we can trust, we are sitting and waiting for disaster to strike. And to top it all off, my brother, and beater, has lost his ever-loving mind over a mate he keeps insisting he wants to reject. Then let me in, Colette whispers, and I exhale deeply. I can't. I tell her honestly. She can't know what I am feeling. I already look like a weak asshole in my current state. I don't need her knowing my mental state is just as messy. Phewick, I groan, pain racing up my spine as my whole body shivers and I squeeze my eyes closed tight. Sorry, she whispers, sounding distracted. Hyacinth, Elm says, his voice one full of pain. Yes, brother? She asks him, another jab of pain rolling through me. Colette pulls back, leaving her hands on my face as she makes me look at her, my breathing ragged and my muscles quaking under my weight. Did you see her? Elm asks, and she stops what she is doing at my back. In a sense, she answers after a moment. She then taps my shoulder, leaning forward so I can see her. Take a seat on the bed. Colette slips to her feet, helping me stand upright before I step backward 2 small steps and she helps to ease me down onto the bed. Hyacinth, Elm demands, with his voice, and she rolls her eyes before looking at him. What could possibly be more important than what I am currently doing? Did you see Lily? He asks, tears in his eyes, and his fists clenching and releasing anxiously. Yes, I saw the power-hungry bitch, she says, crossing her arms over her chest. She is not a power-hungry bitch, he snaps, and she throws her hands up in exasperation. Even now? Even after what happened, what she has done? Behind your back, you still defend her? Hyacinth asks in exasperation. She is my queen, he reminds her. And yours? No. She is a traitor to our kind, and I warned you about her over and over again. She hisses. Enough, Colette says. Elm, she was there, but like a hallucination or a ghost. Your Lily admitted to what she is doing. Hyacinth is right. Lily is a traitor and has been planning this for some time. He looks at Colette, shocked. Then he paces away, dropping into the armchair, his head in his hands. What the am I supposed to do? He asks, looking at me for an answer. You need to tell your kind, I say after a moment. We all need to go back to our respective homes and recover, recuperate, and devise plans of action. War isn't just marching to us, it has wings. We are running out of time. Chapter 68. It's not that simple, Elm says, sitting forward. She is my queen, their queen. I cannot declare she is not fit for the role and rat her out. Why not? I ask, baffled that her actions aren't enough for her to be completely cut off by her kind. She has chosen a war on the opposite side of your people, because there are laws and stipulations to think about, he says, growing more irate by the second. You can bypass all of those, Elm, Hyacinth says, a bored frown on her lips. He snaps his eyes in her direction, anger simmering. There. She places her hands on her hips, readying herself for any verbal assault he flings her way. You are second-guessing your side, Merrick whispers. Elm looks away, clearing his throat, before he rubs his temple. No, that's not I, he says after a pregnant pause that has my heart pounding and my mind swirling. Is he changing his mind? Does he love his traitorous queen so much that he would rather reposition himself and his kind against us in this war? I move toward him, my eyes trained on his face, trying to determine if I can trust a thing he says now. After that hesitation, the way he is refusing to inform his community about what has happened and how she is evil. Then explain it, Elm, I say firmly, stopping in front of him. Love is not something Faye look for or really care about in relationships. But I love her. Still, after all of this, I want my Lily back. I want to know what made her do it, what was promised. Without her title, she is no longer protected. If I declare her a traitor now, there will be no answers as Faye. Kill on sight for sins of betrayal. He says, his eyes watery but no tears fall. She did it. Because she is a selfish bitch who has always only cared about herself. She saw the opportunity to get what she wants, and she is taking it. Hyacinth scoffs as she rolls her eyes. You are the only fool that didn't see her for what she is. Everyone leave, I say, a wave of exhaustion rising above my head, drowning me in irritability and the need to just sleep this nightmare off. All this shit, the feelings Elm is feeling for his mate, who turns out to be just like my ex. It's sickening. It brings up a past, me, that I hated. One who was a slave to someone who wished to only use me. You have always disliked her. I know that. But the people accepted her. The Fae have always loved her and treated her well. Elm says, clearly not hearing me. You loved a version of her no one else knew, because she was faking it for you. I groan, moving on the bed. How do you know that? He asks, snorting like I'm the dumb one in the conversation. Clearly, he is not seeing things with an open mind. It is easier to fake it for one person than it is for a whole slew of them. Take it from one betrayed king to another. She used you for access to the power a royal is given. How the hell else would she be able to use these abilities at the magnitude that she has? I tell him. He makes a fair point. Colette adds, who else do you know who can possess an entire pack at the same time? Who else in our kingdom has the time and is always traveling for peace? Hyacinth asks. Elm stands and silently makes his way to the door. He doesn't pause as he flings it open and exits the room, leaving Colette and Hyacinth here with me. Well, that didn't go over well. Colette whistles. Hyacinth sighs heavily and then turns to look at me. I need to speak with him, but first I can heal a part of your injury. The bruises that were made on impact from the magical fire are something I can heal, as it is untouched underneath the top of the skin. She says, then I need to go try to mend my brother's heart, oaths to me. Without. I catch Colette's relief through the mate bond and I put my hand out for her to come and stand by me. She moves to me hesitation, taking my cool hand in hers. This is going to hurt. Before it gets better, Hyacinth whispers. She moves to my back, a soft throbbing in my muscles grows more intense, like a weight pressing into me. My chest grows tight, and nay breathing more labored as I close my eyes and grit my teeth. I can feel my spine creaking and my ribs suddenly shift, cracking. I gasp, unable to make a sound as the pain consumes me. Then it eases, my lungs filling with air with ease, and my muscles no longer tense and aching. I look at Colette who watches me close, looking over her perfect lips. That is all I can do, Hyacinth says, sounding tired. Your bruising seems like it was a little more than that. But you should heal much faster with your fractured ribs now healed and your bruised spine now better. Thank you. I tell her sincerely, and she steps around so I can see her. The pleasure is all mine, Alpha King. She gives me a small bow before Colette yanks her into a hug, a tear on her cheek as she whispers thank you over and over. Hyacinth only chuckles at her, pulling away from the hug with a soft smile. Aren't you so glad you didn't kill me in the woods now, she asks and Colette nods. Very much. Now, I have a brother to help through a terrible heartache. She gives a tight-lipped smile before disappearing, closing the door behind her. How does it feel? Colette asks me. Honestly, I think most of my pain was from the spine and rib cage. I tell her, though it's not the complete truth, but maybe she will stop babying me and stay with me in the bed tonight. For the whole damn night. She bites her lip, holding back a luminous smile, and I lift my arm, beckoning her to me. She snuggles up to my side, resting her head on my shoulder. We say nothing, just enjoying each other's company before. I can feel the shift in the room, the way the air grows tense and how the mind link shuts down. What is it? I ask her and she sighs. When will you head home? She asks, and it feels like the world stops spinning on its axis, violently spiraling out of control and into chaos. What the hell do you mean by you? I ask. Do you mean we? She says nothing and I scoff, wanting to punch Caspian for speaking to her about this. After I told him not to mention it. Colette doesn't have the option to go with him. She is mine, and she belongs at my side. She knows this, so why is she acting like she has the option? Caspian wants me to go with him. I know, and the answer is no. I say bluntly. I need you, our pack and kind need you, and quat. And I understand that, but what if I have more to offer? She asks. Like what? I scoff. Like abilities I don't know how to use yet, or strength I haven't unlocked because I have only been in fresh water and not the ocean. Caspian is at his strongest when he is near seawater. Maybe I am the same. And what do you plan to do with these abilities? I chuckle. Her going, her leaving at a time like this isn't just absurd, it is stupid. Now is not the time for self-discovery and hopeful powers. It is the time to hunker down and plan for a war. Fight by your side. She says it like it's so obvious. But it's not. How can it be when it is very obvious that she won't ever be asked to fight? I need a Luna, not a warrior, Colette. I could be both. She whispers. No. I say firmly, putting an end to this. No. You are not going, not when war is about to start. I need you with me. I have to know you are safe at all time, otherwise I won't be able to think. We will talk about this after you wake up. She refuses to back down and I laugh. There is nothing left to discuss. I tell her, fine. We will yell about it another time. She says, shrugging, I wanted to be civil about it. But if you want to make it a fight, then we can fight in the morning. Right now, I need to sleep. I frown to myself, trying to remember when she became such a strong-minded woman. But then my frown turns to a smile, realizing how far she has come since she came into my life. It was only a matter of time before my meek mate became the strong-headed Luna she was meant to be. I just sort of hoped I wouldn't be on the receiving end of it anymore. Chapter 69. Colette. I stare at myself in the mirror, my hair wet and dripping down my bare shoulders as I tilt my head, watching the droplets with intense concentration. My abilities take so much effort and emotion. I try to convince the droplets to float off my body, but they don't move. Instead of rolling down like they would any other day before I knew what I was. Colette. Merrick calls, a soft rapping on the door with his knuckles. I sigh, frustrated with the stubborn man who should still be in his bed rest, not walking around the room in search of me. Yes, I call out. Caspian is asking to speak with us, he says, his voice muffled through the door. I gaze at myself once more, my stomach a mess of knots. Caspian is going to want my answer soon. And with Merrick wanting to leave as soon as possible, I need to decide what is best for me. For my pack. Just give me a second, I mutter, grabbing a towel and drying my hair as best as I can. I toss on my jeans and tank top, yanking on a linen button-up as I exit the door and nearly run into Merrick. My eyes fly open wide, stopping in my tracks as he places his hands out to catch me. Whoa! He chuckles before he pulls me close, wrapping his hands around my waist, trying to lay me out again. Are you kidding? Keeping you in bed is the hardest thing I have ever tried to do, I tease, leaning into his chest as I look up into his eyes. There is more spark there, the dark circles under his eyes now gone, and he looks good. Damn good. There are some easy ways to keep me in bed, he winks, leaning down. His lips pressed to mine, soft and sweet, before my fingers curl into his shirt, tugging him as close as possible. My mouth part, and his tongue teases me, darting out to skim the small opening I provide him. A little needy moan tumbles out, and I can feel him smile against my lips before he applies more pressure. He latches onto my bottom lip, nibbling on the sensitive skin before he overtakes my mouth with his tongue. My hands glide up his neck, holding him in place, afraid he will pull away before I am ready to let him go. I can feel his fingers dig into my hips before they move lower, tucking into the back of my jean pockets. We need to go, he murmurs against me. I agree, not giving him the chance to stop us. He hasn't been well enough for anything like this. Me too afraid to hurt him, and his need to be on his belly has really diminished any ability to be intimate. But if he can stand long enough, sit on the edge of the bed, then there are ways we can be together. Or close. Right? Far too soon. Merrick pulls away, a grin on his all too handsome face as he looks down at me. We need to go, my little Luna, he whispers, his nose rubbing against mine as he leans down once more, this time stealing a chase to ensure I can't ensnare him with another round. You tease me first, I remind him, thinking of all the ways I would like to make sure he stays in bed. It has been too long since we have been together. For a woman who has only just experienced what it is to be fully in union with her mate, it feels like a lifetime. I promise to follow through on any teasing, but at a better time, he says, stepping away from me as he entwines our hands and walks us toward the door. We will have all the time in the world when we get home. I nod in agreement, my heart hurting with the pending choice I have to make hanging over my head. Merrick eyes me suspiciously, but he says nothing as we walk out the door and down the hallway. The tension between us seems to rise with every step. As we approach dining room, we see Hyacinth sitting with Elm, who looks bereaved, as if he is mourning someone. Menk sprays my hand, and Hyacinth sends me a soft sad smile before turning back to her brother, who she tries to convince to take a bite of avocado toast as he stares at the wall. As we make it to the other hall, far enough away, I look over my shoulder. Do you think he will end up choosing her? I ask, uncertain where the line for loyalty is drawn. Lily betrayed him and their kind, but he has the choice to forgive her and lead his people down the path she has chosen. Elm doesn't know me all that well, but we have a mutual respect for each other. What happens when it comes down to love versus what is right? I can't imagine the choice he is faced with. No, Merrick says with certainty. A king's duty is to their people's well-being first and foremost. What she has done, the predicament she has put them in, it proves where her heart lies, and that is with power. Not her kind. But he loves her, I say, but Merrick sighs, making me pause. Elm is distraught because he has already made his choice. That is why he is grieving his loss. I murmur, frowning as we approach my biological father's door. I reach for the handle, but Merrick pulls me back, making me look up at him with a small frown. Wait, he whispers, inhaling deeply. What task? We need to be on the same page, he says firmly. We are leaving tonight, heading back to our pack under the cover of darkness. And you are only just now telling me this. I scoff, frustrated that he is only just now telling me this. Percy is doing better, and Hayes feels Leandra deserves a chance and wants to be at home for that. Add in the fact that I will heal faster in our pack than here. It is a logical decision. Heading home is for the best for everyone, he says with a shrug. Except he is wrong. How does he know it is the best for me? My strength is untested, unknown. Is it best for me to head home and cower? To go and hide behind my people who will fight for me while I am sitting around, too weak to be at their sides like a good leader should? Ah, Caspian says, his door swinging open. I was wondering when you two would grace me with your presence. He smiles at us before motioning for us to enter. Merrick leads us in and I release his hand, making my way to a chair, using it as an excuse to not have to touch him when I'm growing increasingly angry with him by the second. I have to admit, Merrick, I am very pleased to see you up and moving. You had me worried there for a bit, Caspian says, sounding genuine. Merrick chuckles. I am damn happy to be up and moving. Thankfully, Hyacinth thought to search for a different way to heal what she could, he says, and Dad nods in agreement. She is an asset on this side of war. I am assuming you heard we plan to leave tonight, Merrick asks, and I watch as he arches a brow. Caspian nods his head slowly, his eyes skirting to me for a brief moment. Yes, he says before he takes a seat himself. Am I also to assume you will be going with your mate? Of course she is. Merrick answers for me and I lick my teeth, hiding a dry chuckle, unable to hide my irritation. We haven't even had the time to discuss this yet. Why the hell does he think he has the right to answer when I don't even know for sure yet what I wish to do? Forgive me, Alpha, but I was not talking to you, he says, looking between us. I was speaking to my daughter, the one I was estranged from for years, the same one I wish to help grow stronger. Daughter or not, the decision has been made, Merrick reiterates. I think you should reconsider, Caspian says, looking at me. I can feel my skin heating, the anger barely restrained as I search for the words to speak but fail. Once things settle down, after this mess is all cleaned up, then she can visit for a short time. But right now, it is important that she remain with me in our pack, Merrick answers. For me yet again, I am brought back to everything in our relationship. The way I have never really made a decision of my own. I had no choice but to mate with Merrick, not really. Not that I regret accepting his offer, but I was a pawn to him. And then again, Wen didn't tell me who I was, and the way he tricked me with Grady. And now, after last night, telling him we need to talk about this, he has made his own decision about me and what I will do. He disregarded my feelings about what he thinks is best. I love this stubborn man, and I know he wants me near him because he loves me and wants me safe. But I can be so much more than another person to protect. There is potential for me to be able to rely on myself, to trust my abilities and not be a burden, but an asset. Is that what you want, Colette? Caspian asks, to wait until after the war to train and discover your abilities. I look at Merrick, and I know he can feel my inner turmoil brewing. I can tell by the way he doesn't respond to me again. The panic growing in his eyes as I look away and clear my throat, letting my heart do the talking for me. No. I whisper. No, it's not what I want to do. Chapter 70. Merrick scoffs, looking away from me angrily, his jaw clenching. I look up at Caspian, who looks between my mate and me with a somber look on his face. It's obvious he thinks I should go with him, but that doesn't mean he enjoys the turmoil it brings me. So you aren't coming home with me, then? Merrick asks, trying hard to control his words and the anger behind them. No, that is not what I am saying, either. I sigh, closing my eyes for a moment before I inhale and meet his fiery gaze. I can see the hurt on his face, feel his confusion through the mate bond. Then what do you want? He asks. His voice has shifted, no longer filled with anger. Instead, it is soft, resolved, as he waits for my answer. I want to be able to make the decision on my own. I tell him, and he shakes his head in disbelief. We are mates. We are a team. He tells me. We decide together. Yet you made the decision that we leave tonight without telling me until right now. You made the decision for me, with no regard for what I might need or want. I tell him, this is not the time for this conversation. He mutters, pacing away from me and toward the door. When is the time for it? I ask him. Because we hardly discussed it last night. We discussed it. He shoots back. I roll my eyes. No. You told me what I was doing, and I told you we would discuss it in the morning. He scowls at me. You actually said we would fight about it in the morning, he reminds me. And here we are, fighting about it. I shrug, standing. Perhaps you two should discuss this after we are done here. Caspian says, and I look at him, a little shocked. I had forgotten where we were. Was there something other than who I am going with that we need to discuss? I ask Caspian, and he nods. Fine. Merrick grits out, but he refuses to look at me. He throws up a barrier through our bond and I frown to myself. I'm suddenly not all that excited to be alone with him later. Once we all go our separate ways, it will be difficult to communicate, he says as he wanders over to his desk and he pulls out a box. What is that? I ask him. Caspian pads over to me, holding the box out as I take it from him. Merrick comes close, his chest brushing my shoulder as he leans close, looking down as I pull the top from the box. I lift the sleek black cell phone from the box, looking up at him, a little shocked to see he would have a human device like this. A cell phone? Merrick says quizzically. How do you expect to use this in the water? I won't. I have already arranged for a small home on the shore of the ocean, one where I will place a siren in human form to watch the phone for news from you or anyone else who has this number. You do realize these devices require service to work? I ask Caspian, and he frowns at me. I do know how things outside of my world work, daughter, he says. All of that has been taken care of. Everyone's numbers have already been added as well. And there is a charger in there. Okay, I say, nodding, and he meets my eyes. If you just wish to speak with me or ask me a question, you only have to call, and my warriors will retrieve me. A smile tugs at my lips. This whole having a dad who wants to be a part of my life now feels strange, but it's pleasant. Nice to not be the last of my family. I will probably have lots of questions. I tell him and he smiles, the joy in his eyes telling me he wants me to call, that he hopes I will do it often. Anything else? Merrick asks, breaking the tender father-daughter moment, and I frown at him. He looks away and exhales before he looks back. I will make sure she calls often, he tells Caspian, who slaps him on the shoulder with a grin. Thank you. Well, that is all I have for now, Caspian says, giving me a smile. Merrick guides me to the door, the cell phone clutched to my chest as we make our way down the hall. I want to check in on Percy, I tell Merrick. He says nothing for a minute and I look up at him, watching as he glares forward and then turns to look at me. We have a conversation we need to finish first, he says, his words restrained. My stomach drops, not looking forward to continuing the conversation I know we need to have. There is so much emotion, so much panic in what will happen and what I might say in the heat of the moment. There isn't much left to say. I am considering going with my father, I say, with a shrug, trying to make light of it. Merrick takes my hand as he walks toward our room. He pushes the door open and swings me into it, slamming the door behind us as he backs me into the wall. I square my shoulder, not afraid of him, and then I see the sheer terror in his eyes. The way he looks over my face like he is looking for an answer. You can't go, he whispers, his body fully pressed to mine. The coolness of the wall does nothing to stop the heat burning through me as he pleads. He rests his forearms on either side of me, boxing me in as I tilt my chin up to look at him. I haven't said I am going yet, I remind him, and he shakes his head. No matter how many times I tell you, you just don't seem to understand it. You aren't my other half, Colette. You are all of me. I need you. My heart breaks as he nuzzles into my cheek and neck. I feel the same way, I say. Good. Then you are staying with me, he murmurs, his lips finding my ear as he whispers against my skin. That isn't what I said. I gasp at his intimate touch, my eyes falling closed. Merrick, I need to be allowed to think about this, to make this decision on my own. He stops, nearly panting as he drops the most tender of kisses on my cheek before he pushes away. Don't make me use my alpha's command on you, he whispers in warning. I do not want to be controlling or force your hand any more than I have in the past, but I can't. I need you with me. My burning need for him whips into a raging frenzy of frustration as I scoff and walk past him further into the room. You have made every decision for me since the moment I have met you, I hiss. Oh no, you chose to mate with me in place of that itch. Leslie, willingly, if you recall, he says, his eyebrows raised. You are infuriating, I mutter, pinching the bridge of my nose before I shake my head. You tricked me. Yes, I accepted. But you didn't choose me because you wanted me. You were there for me because of who I am, what I am. Merrick, you came to steal me and use me. And the second I realized we were mates, he says, but I interrupt him. You should have told me, but you didn't. Instead, you pushed me away and tested me with Grady. He came on his own. He laughs dryly. I didn't seek him out. The Dumber *S came looking for you. All I did was let it play out. Then, you refused to listen to me and you forced me into that promise, so I couldn't know we were mates. I say, tilting my head and licking my teeth, waiting for him to find a retort for this. His chest rumbles with a low, dissatisfied growl from his lycan. I have already explained those actions to you, he says simply, like the explanation was enough to make it all okay. Then there was how you never told me what I was or who my father is. I say, my hands on my hips as I watch him drop onto the edge of the bed. Is this punishment, then? he asks, his voice a whisper. My hands drop from my waist, my heart shattering, watching him look defeated and broken. His sullen eyes lift to meet mine and my breathing hitches. He is destroyed. I want to rush to him, fall to my knees and tell him I was kidding, that it was all just me being a little crazy. But the truth is, the more I say it out loud, the more I realize I need to make this decision on my own. No, Merrick. I exhale, tears in my eyes as I move to his side, sitting next to him. This is me, standing my ground and needing to do this on my own. I love you and who I am with you. But I feel like I am missing so much of who I am. I want to give you every part of me, but I still don't know myself fully. He reaches over, taking my hand in his, but he doesn't look at me. So, this isn't about you not loving me, he whispers, and I laugh at the absurdity. Never, I say, jumping up and stepping between his legs. I hold both sides of his face, making sure he is looking up at me. This is something that I have to decide on my own, okay? Okay, he agrees reluctantly. I will not hinder your decision, even if it is one I don't like.